boys and girls. I'm Miss Amy, and this is Claudia, and today we're going to share a story with you. It's called The Man Who Was Too Little, and it's one of our favorite stories. Zacchaeus was too little. He was too high to reach high things. He was too little to reach big things. And one day, Zacchaeus almost didn't get to see Jesus because he was too little. Jesus is coming down the street, somebody said. Let's go out to see him. Now, Zacchaeus wanted to see what Jesus looked like. So when other people hurried outside, Zacchaeus hurried too. The little street was full of daddies and mommies and grandpas and grandmas and uncles and aunts and boys and girls and friends, all wanting to see Jesus. "Here he comes," a man shouted. "Here comes Jesus now. I see him. I see him." Zacchaeus tried to see too. First he looked this way, then he looked that way. But there were too many people and Zacchaeus was too little. He couldn't see Jesus at all. "What shall I do?" Zacchaeus thought. "I know. I'll run and climb the big tree. Then I can see him." Too little Zacchaeus started to run. Go, Zacchaeus, go. Go fast. He came to the tree. Climb, Zacchaeus. Climb fast. Now Zacchaeus was up high. He could see the daddies coming and the mommies and the grandpas and the grandmas and the uncles and the aunts and the boys and the girls. And then, friends, he could see Jesus. Zacchaeus saw Jesus. Jesus stopped at the big tree. He looked up right at Zacchaeus. "Zacchaeus," he said, "hurry, come down. I'm coming to your house." Well, too little Zacchaeus did hurry. He went down that tree fast. And then happy Zacchaeus took Jesus home for dinner. Jesus knew Zacchaeus was in that tree. He knew Zacchaeus' name. Jesus knows where you are all the time. He knows your name too.
Jesus was going through the city of Jericho. In Jericho, there was a wealthy tax collector named Zacchaeus. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but he was too short to see above the crowd. He ran ahead to a place where he knew Jesus would come. He climbed a sycamore tree so that he could see Jesus. And he climbed a little bit more. When Jesus came to that place, he looked up and saw Zacchaeus in the tree. He said to Zacchaeus, "Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. I must stay at your house tonight." Zacchaeus came down quickly. He was pleased to have Jesus in his house. All the people saw this, and they started to complain. "Look at the kind of man Jesus stays with!"
"Zacchaeus is a sinner!"
Zacchaeus said, "I will give half of my money to the poor. If I have cheated anyone, I will give them 4 times more."
Salvation has come to this house today. This man truly belongs to the family of Abraham. The Son of Man came to find lost people and save them.
Not only was Zacchaeus looked down upon because he was a tax collector, but he was literally looked down upon because he was little. I get the feeling that Zacchaeus didn't have very many friends, and he certainly didn't feel loved on a daily basis. But Jesus didn't care about what everyone else thought about Zacchaeus. When Jesus walked this earth, he was determined to love everyone, no exceptions. So, how can we be more like Jesus? When we see someone who doesn't have any friends, we can be a friend. When we see someone who's not being cared for, we can care for them. And when we see someone who's not loved, we can love them just like Jesus would.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Daniel.
I'm Miss Ashley.
We're here to help sing two of our favorite songs. This first one might be new, but we think you'll like it.
And I met you.
That's right.
I do.
Yep. Will you help us sing?
Okay.
God made me somebody special, somebody special. He made me. God made me somebody special, somebody special, yes indeed. He knows when I need him, he hears my every prayer. He sees when things get hairy, and his feet are everywhere. God made me somebody special, somebody special. He made me, God made me somebody special, somebody special, yes indeed. Great! Next, we will sing a song about the story of Zacchaeus. There are a few different ways to sing the second verse. We're interested in how your family sings this song in the comments. Ready?
I want to.
Okay, you can sit down then.
I
You can sit down. Ready?
will.
Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, the Savior for to see. And when the Savior passed that way, he looked up in a tree, and he said, Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today, for I'm going to your house today. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, the Savior for to see. And when the Savior passed that way, he looked up in a tree, and he said, Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today, for I'm going to your house today.
For today's video, we are going to make a tree, and which is kind of similar to this one. So you will need a paper towel roll, or you can use 2 toilet paper rolls like I did for this one, and you can tape them together. You'll need some glue, some colored pencils or crayons or markers, a pair of scissors, and a pencil or pen, and then some green paper or yellow paper, whatever color you want to make the leaves on your tree. So I'll give this one to Brody. And before we do anything to our tree trunk, we are going to make, since we're talking about Zacchaeus today, we're going to make a little Zacchaeus to glue to our tree trunk. And there's my little Zacchaeus holding on to the tree trunk. And then also, if you want, you can make a little hidden place inside your tree, which I cut out a little oval which is kind of like a little knot in the tree where animals live. And inside of my tree trunk, I put a squirrel. So you can do either the Zacchaeus, or you can do the squirrel, or you can do both, or you can do neither one of them. Okay, to draw the little Zacchaeus, we will draw a small circle, and then for the top of his arms, we're just going to draw a curved line that goes right under his head and comes up that way. And then a small curved line over here, small curved line over here, another small curved line this way, another one this way, and these are his arms. And then a curved line this way, curved line this way, and then a big curved line all the way across here. And so this is his robe. These are his two arms, and this is the bottom of his robe. And then because he's climbing up a tree, he's looking up. So this is actually the back of him, and he's looking up so we can see the top of his nose sticking out and his ears sticking out. And then his hairline would be right here. And then we would see his little eyes looking up the tree. So just imagine that this is kind of the top of his head looking up. And this right here is his hair, and we can color that in later. And then for his hands, we don't have to get super detailed. We can just draw a little thumb, and then a little curvy line for the rest of his fingers. And over here we draw a thumb, and then a little curvy line for the rest of his fingers. And the same for his foot. We kind of draw a line out here, then his big toe, and then kind of some curvy lines for his other toes. And then over here another big toe, and then some curved lines for his other toes, and then his heel. So when we cut him out, his arms will be wrapped around the tree trunk, and his legs will be wrapped around the tree trunk. So now we can color it, and then we'll cut it out next. For the squirrel, we can do two small circles next to each other. And then we do a little line here, because this will be our nose. And it's kind of like a little triangle. And then do a little dome for the top of his head. And do some little circles up here for the ears. And can do some little dots for the eyes. A little tooth so that he can crack open his acorns. And then we'll do a little fat round body. And then do some little ovals here for the feet. And some little ovals up here for the arms. And then we can add some extra little details like eyebrows and some whiskers. And then we need a bushy tail, so we can put the tail out here like this. And add some more detail to his paws. remember when you're gluing on your Zacchaeus and when you're cutting your hole in your tree, make sure you do them low enough on the tree trunk so that you still have room to cut the branches. So what we're going to do is we are just going to cut little slits in the top of the paper towel roll. So about 3 inches or so. And then we're just gonna, they don't have to be exactly the same width. I'm doing mine probably a little less than an inch wide. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see kind of the branches on this one. But also I put tree roots down here so that it helps it have a little more of a base so that it doesn't fall over as easily. Kind of cut off parts of these at different angles so that they look a little more like tree limbs, because all tree limbs aren't exactly the same size and shape. We're going to use some green and yellow paper, and you can use just green paper or you can have different colors of green paper. You can even make it like oranges and browns, like it's a fall tree. There's all different kinds of combinations you could do. Once you get your sections torn, then you just wad them up. What are you doing, Rigby? Are you checking to see if everything's going okay? Rigby likes to help us with everything. Or at least she thinks she's helping. Okay, so once you have all your balls of leaves, we're going to glue them on to your tree branches. Gluing on all these little small pieces can be a little bit frustrating, a little bit tricky. So if you want to make it easier for yourself or for the little ones, you can just wad up an entire piece of paper and then use that as your leaves. Or you could put a couple pieces and just glue those on together. So instead of trying to balance all the small pieces, you can just do 1 or 2 big pieces. Brody. So now we just need to leave them alone for a while so that they can dry. And then we'll come back and show you our finished product.
Go on a virtual adventure. Join us for Arrow Bible Camp.
Hey kids, thanks for joining us for Bible Blast.
Hope you had a blast!